Hello students. In this video, let us start Unit 5 of Prose, the lesson Shabale or SABALA. As a warm-up activity, we have this task here for us. Rearrange the following words in the correct order to form meaningful sentences. Here we have the different sentences whose words are not organized in the proper order. So whenever we are trying to answer such questions, keep in mind that the first word usually is capitalized while the last word has the full stop. So if you are finding difficulties in finding the order, you can use these two ideas to help you find the order. The first one is, are beings, animals living? So you can pause the video before I give you the answer and try it yourself. The answer is, animals are living beings. Do not forget the full stop at the end of every sentence. Second one, us animals feel also like. The answer is, animals also feel like us. Third one, useful us to our animals. And the answer is, animals are useful to us. So this is the end of task A. Now let us try to answer task B. How do you think that a cow is useful to us? So how do you think a cow is a useful animal? Just think about this for a while and you can discuss with your partners and come up with points about how a cow is useful to us. Let me just give you some pointers. First of all, we know that we get milk from cows. Milk is very essential for healthy development of our bodies. So we get milk from cows. Next, cow dung is used as a fertilizer and it is also used for preparation of natural gas. So cow dung is used for the preparation of it. This is called as biogas. So cow dung is used for fuel and fertilizer. Also, urine of cows is used in certain medicines. These are some uses of cows. Another very important use of cows is that they play a major role in agriculture and animal husbandry. Think about all these pointers and come up with more reasons about why we think cow is a useful animal. Now let us start the lesson. Once there was a sage whose name was Vasishta. He lived in a forest. Vasishta had a cow by name Shabale. Shabale is also known as Nandini, daughter of Kamadhenu, the heavenly cow. So if you have heard about stories about Kamadhenu, Kamadhenu is the heavenly cow who is said to have the ability to grant you whatever you wish for. And Kamadhenu's calf or daughter is Nandini and Nandini's other name is Shabale. So where is Shabale? Shabale is with sage Vasishta. Whenever Vasishta asked her for anything such as food, drink or clothes, she would give them to him. So whenever Vasishta needed anything like food, drink or clothes, Kamadhenu's daughter Shabale, she would give them to Vasishta. Both of them lived happily in the forest. So here we have the sage Vasishta's adobe. Next, one day, so before that let me introduce you to the new word. So the word is abode. And the meaning is place of residence or a house or home. So what we can see here can be considered as sage Vasishta's abode. Let's see what happens. One day, Kaushika a powerful king and his soldiers came to the forest. They were hunting. They saw a small hut and decided to rest there for some time. When they came near the hut, Vasishta greeted Kaushika and his men. He prayed to Shabale to give his guests a tasty meal. In minutes, Shabale gave them a tasty meal. Kaushika was impressed by Shabale's special gift. So what is happening is, one day King Kaushika, he was hunting in the forest, and then he got tired and he decided to rest in the small hut. So that small hut belonged to Vasishta, and Vasishta, he welcomed Kaushika and his men, and then to feed them he prayed to cow Shabale, and Shabale prepared a tasty meal for Kaushika. Kaushika was impressed by Shabale's special gift. He wanted to take Shabale to his palace. So Kaushika asked Vasishta to give Shabale to him in exchange for 10,000 cows. So Kaushika, he was very impressed by Shabale's special gift. So as we all know, Shabale had the ability to give Vasishta whatever he wished for. And Kaushika saw this and he was very impressed and he wanted to take the cow to his palace. In exchange for one Shabale, he asked Vasishta to take 10,000 cows. So Kaushika is saying, I will give you 10,000 cows if you give me Shabale. But Vasishta refused. Refused is to say no. Kaushika even offered his entire kingdom and asked for Shabale. But Vasishta still refused. So Kaushika really wanted to take Shabale with him. So he is offering Vasishta more and more in exchange for Shabale. He is saying, take 10,000 cows. And when Vasishta refused, he said, you can take my entire kingdom if you give me the cow Shabale. But Vasishta is refusing. What does he say? He's saying, Shabale belongs to the gods and goddesses and she should not be misused. So, what Vasishta is saying is, Shabale is not mine. She belongs to the gods and goddesses and she should not be misused. So here we can see what is happening. This is Shabale and here we have sage Vasishta and this is King Kaushika. So he is asking for Shabale whereas Vasishta is saying no. Kaushika decided to take Shabale by force. He put a rope around Shabale's neck and dragged her, but she was not willing to go with the king. So what he does is, he puts a rope around Shabale's neck and he is trying to pull her. But she was not willing to go with the king. Shabale saw her master's helplessness. So while this is happening, Vasishta is not able to do anything. He's just watching helplessly. So Shabale saw his master's helplessness and she decided to teach Kaushika a lesson. She freed herself and ran and stood next to Vasishta. She underwent an amazing change. So what happened was, as soon as Shabale got to know that her master is being put to a helpless state, she decides to teach Kaushika a lesson. So she freed herself from the rope and she ran and stood next to her master, that is Vasishta. And then she underwent an amazing change. What was that change? Fire gushed out of her eyes. Her head and neck grew larger. Balls of fire came out of her tail. Many soldiers came out of her mouth, udder and her sides. These soldiers chased Kaushika and his men out of the ashram, but they did not kill anyone. So Shabale, she now transformed into an aggressive form. Fire is gushing out of her eyes and she is becoming bigger. Her head and neck grew larger. Balls of fire came out of her tail. Many soldiers came out of her mouth, udder, and her sides. So another new word is udder, UDDER, and that is the mammary glands of the cow. If you have seen a calf drinking milk, that is the udder. It is also where we can get the milk from the cow from. So, because Shabale is very angry at Kaushika, she has underwent an aggressive change and she is now looking very powerful. Fire is gushing out from her eyes and she has become bigger. Balls of fire have come out of her tail and many soldiers are coming out of her mouth, udder and her sides. So these soldiers, they did not kill anyone, but they chased away Kaushika and his men. So we can see here the aggressive form of Shabale. Here is a memory exercise for you all. Without scrolling back in your textbook, can you try to remember what is the other name of Shabale? You can take your time to think about it. The quiz question is, what is Shabale's other name? The answer is, there are actually two answers. So Shabale is also known as SABALA and Nandini. So the other names for Shabale are SABALA and Nandini. Let's get back to the lesson. Kaushika realized that he was not powerful enough and he could not win anything by force. He left his kingdom, went into the forest to become a sage. After many years of prayer and meditation, he became a true sage and came to be called Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra means the friend of the world. So Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra means the friend of the world. So because Shabale became very powerful, that taught Kaushika the lesson that he was not powerful enough and he could not win anything by force. So he is reevaluating his life and he left his kingdom and went into the forest to become a sage. After many years of prayer and meditation, he became a true sage and came to the forest, became a true sage, and he came to be called as Vishwamitra. And Vishwamitra means the friend of the world. Now, let us try to answer and know about our words to know. The first word is sage. Sage means hermit or rishi. Greet. Greet is to welcome. So we learned that when Kaushika and his men came to rest into the hut, Vasishta went out to greet them. And we have also learned that it is good manners to greet somebody whenever you see them. You can say hello, good morning or namaste. Next, entire. Entire is complete or whole. Drag. Drag is to pull forcefully. So Vasishta, Kaushika, he tried to drag Shabale with him. Amazing is surprising. Shabale went through an amazing change. Udder. We learnt about this. This is the part of the cow where the milk is stored. Chased. Chased is to drove. So the soldiers that came from Shabale, they drove away all Kaushika and his men. Wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge, learning and sound judgment. Devotion is great love for God. Meditation. is praying with concentration. Meditation is the state of mind where we try to free ourselves from any thoughts. Gushed is to flow or burst out. Where did we encounter this word in our lesson? Fire gushed out of her eyes. So fire came out of her eyes or flew or burst out of her eyes. Greedy. Greedy is to be desiring more than you need. Up next, we have vocabulary. Are these sentences right or wrong? First sentence, Vasishta lived in a forest. Is this right or wrong? This is right. Next, Kaushika did not ask Vasishta to give Shabale to him. This is wrong. We know that Kaushika multiple times requested Vasishta for Shabale. Kaushika decided to take Shabale by force. This is right. Finally, Shabale went with Kaushika. We know that this is not right. Instead, Shabale sent soldiers to chase away Kaushika and his men. So this is wrong. Up next, pick the correct word. So Shabale was also known as Nandini. Kaushika was a king. Who wanted to take Shabale to his palace? The answer is Kaushika. Kaushika put a dash around Shabale's neck and dragged her. Rope, thread or cover? The answer is rope. Up next, we have comprehension. Let us try to answer these questions one by one. So the first question is, who was Vasishta? Who was Vasishta? To answer this, let us go back to our lesson. In the beginning, we are introduced to sage Vasishta. Once there was a sage whose name was Vasishta. So Vasishta was a sage. The answer was a sage. Next question, where did he live? So we know that he lived in a forest. Next question, what was special about Shabale? What was special about Shabale? We have the answer here. Whenever Vasishta asked for anything such as food, drink or clothes, she would give them to him. She would give them to him. So we can say that Shabale had the ability to give Vasishta whenever he asked for something. So that was what was special about Shabale. Next question. What did Kaushika ask Vasishta? So we know that Kaushika asked Vasishta for Shabale. For Shabale. So in such lessons, you have to pay special attention to the spellings. The spellings, they are sometimes in different textbooks and different literature. The spellings are different, but it's better you follow whatever is in the textbook. Next question. What did Kaushika realize? So we are now going to the very end of the lesson where once Shabale reveals her aggressive form, Kaushika realizes that he was not powerful enough and he could not win anything by force. So Kaushika he was not powerful enough and he could not win anything by force. So observe the spelling of realize. Sometimes it is also written like this with a yes. Both of these are correct. So with the Z, this is the preferred spelling in America and Canada, and with the S, it's preferred outside America in the UK. So you can choose either of these spellings, but again, better to go with the textbook. This is the answer for comprehension questions, that is C1 questions. Now, let us go to C2. Read the sentences and put them in the appropriate columns. Here we have Shabale with Vasishta and Shabale with King Kaushika. Because of the lack of space here, I will just write with Vasishta or with King Kaushika. She gave him food, drinks and clothes. Did Shabale give food, drink and clothes to Vasishta or Kaushika? The answer is Vasishta. Next, she underwent an amazing change. So she became aggressive with King Kaushika. She was producing fierce warriors to protect her master. This was with King Kaushika. Her head and neck grew larger. This was also with King Kaushika. Balls of fire came out of her tail. Again, King Kaushika. And finally, many soldiers came out of her mouth, udder and her sides. Again, this is when she has underwent that amazing change. This is also with King Kaushika. Next, we have language exercises. Write the past tense form of pray. So the past tense form of pray is prayed. Drag. The answer is dragged. Observe the spelling. There are two G's. Next, refuse, refused. Give. The answer is gave. Ask, asked. Go, went. Order, ordered. Kill, killed. So these are the answers for L1. Next we have L2. Discuss with your partner and complete the passage using the correct form of verbs given in brackets. First one morning, a king dashed to a village. So one morning, a king went to a village. This is a story that has already happened, so it should be in past tense. He dashed an old woman planting mango saplings. He saw an old woman planting mango saplings. She dashed weak and tired. She looked weak and tired. The king dashed her how many years would it take for the saplings to grow and give fruit. The king asked her how many years it would take for the saplings to grow and give fruit. The old woman dashed that it would take around 10 years. The old woman replied that it would take around 10 years. The king dashed if she would be alive to eat them. The king asked if she would be alive to eat them. She dashed that she dashed not planting them for herself. She said that she was not planting them for herself but others. The king dashed happy and dashed her a silver mango. The king felt happy and gave her a silver mango. She dashed the king and dash. She thanked the king and smiled. So this is the answer for L2. Up next, you have to read the following dialogues with expressions. So this is an enactment and reading activity. You can go ahead and do it with your classmates. Okay, students, that is the end of the L3, and here we have L4, which is, as usual, the last part of a lesson, speech sounds. O as in go. Keep your teeth well apart and lips rounded. So when you're saying O, do not bite your teeth and keep your mouth in a O shape. Say, not a word Joe spoke, he could only croak, with a moan and a groan when he choked on a bone. It's no joke to choke with a bone in your throat. So the O sound is repeated multiple times through these lines. Repeat them aloud, paying attention to the shape of your mouth when you're making the O sound. Okay, students, this is the end of the lesson Shabale. I will see you all in the next video.